Welcome to Oracle Database Creation Practice. In this practice, we are going to create a database from scratch using Database Configuration Assistant utility from Oracle or DBCA. This utility exists under Oracle Home bin directory, under Oracle Home, DB Home, under bin directory, DBCA, and click Enter. Select the operation that you want to perform, create database or manage templates. Other options are grayed out because currently we don't have any database. Once we create a database, these options will be available and you can choose one of them. Click Next. Here you can go either with basic database creation or advanced mode creation. Let's go with advanced mode creation and click Next. You can choose with 3 templates, either general purpose or transaction template, data warehouse template, custom data warehouse. Templates that includes data files, pre-created database. So if you choose general purpose transaction processing or data warehouse, database creation will be very fast because Oracle will automatically clone the database files from these templates to create your database. Click general purpose or transaction processing and click Next. Here you have to provide the name of global database name and the system identifier. Global database name is the name of the database dot your domain name. For example, ORCL dot name of the domain. In our case, we don't have a domain, so we will keep the domain as empty. The system identifier or the instance name is ORCL. Typically, we use name of the system identifier as the name of the database. In case of a rack environment, for example, if you have 2-node rack environment, its ID or system identifier will be ORCL1 on node 1 and ORCL2 on node 2. Oracle database name will be used as a prefix for naming the system identifier. Create as container database. This is a new feature on Oracle Database 12c, multi-tenant. So if you need more information about multi-tenant, you can search on Oracle documentation and read about Oracle multi-tenant or container database. Click Next. Starting with Oracle Database 12c, Oracle remove Enterprise Manager from the database and introduce something called Database Express based on XML DB. So if you plan to use Database Express, which is a graphical tool, you can launch it from Internet Explorer or Firefox to manage your database. You can configure Enterprise Manager Database Express. We will uncheck this box and later on in the practice we will see how to configure Database Express manually. Click Next. Here you can provide the password for 2 super users. The first one, which is the system, and the sys user. You can provide a different password for each one, or you can use a common password for both of them. For simplicity, we can go with common password for sys and system user. Click Next. To be able to connect to the database remotely from client machine, there should be a listener running at the database server listening for incoming connection. Here you can create a listener, or if you have an existing listener on the database server, you can select from the list. In our case, there is no current running listener, so we'll create a listener, name it, for example, listener. Here you can provide the port of the listener, for example, 1521, which is the default port of the listener. Click Next. This is the storage location. Storage location means where you are planning to put your database files. We will use common location for all database files. Then you can change this one or accept the default. This is Oracle base / Ora data. Oracle base, you choose the Oracle base during database software installation, which is /01 app Oracle. So this Oracle base environment variable map to /01 app Oracle. So your database files will be /01 app Oracle Ora data. Fast recovery area, same thing under Oracle base, which is /01/app/Oracle. Under fast recovery area directory, you can specify the location and size of your fast recovery area. If you need to enable archiving, you can click enable archiving. Later on in later practices, we will see how to change the size of the flash recovery area and how to enable archiving for database server. Click next. If you plan to use a sample schemas, for example HR schema, OE schema, sales history schema, you can choose sample schemas. Most of Oracle practices and Oracle learning library based on the sample schema. Database vault and label security. This is a feature for enabling a security separation of roles and so on, which is called database vault and label security. This is discussed on Oracle security material, so you can go with Oracle security and learn about database vault and label security. Don't enable any one of these features. Click next. Here is the most important part of the database creation, which is the size of the memory or the SGA of your database and PGA. Here we can go with, for example, 840 megabyte. This is the memory size, which is SGA and PGA. SGA and PGA. Use automatic memory management. We will see later on in later lessons what is meant by automatic memory management. Sizing, the maximum number of operating system user processes that can be simultaneously connected to the database. So how many sessions you can open to the database server. This is the maximum one, which is 300. Character set. This is very important during database creation. So if you plan, for example, to store Arabic or Chinese or Japanese characters in your database, you have to choose the correct character set during database creation. For example, the default one, which is West Europe MSWin 1252. This character set cannot be used to store Arabic or Chinese or Japanese, for example, or Hindi characters. But if you plan, for example, to store Arabic characters or Japanese characters, Chinese characters, you have to use the character set that support this character types, like for example Unicode. Unicode is a character set that store multiple language groups. For example, if you plan to use Arabic, you can either choose AL32 UTF-8, which is the Unicode, or you can go with, for example, AR8 MSWin 1256. Choose the correct character set and click next. Here you can create a template, generate also database creation, and you can provide the location of database creation scripts. Click next. This is the summary of our database creation options. Then you can go with finish. Database creation takes around 10 to 13 minutes if you choose a template. Depends on the speed of your server. Here we go. The database creation was successful. You can either close this DBCA wizard or go to the password management. In the password management, we will go to the user called HR, to the HR user, and unlock this account and provide a new password for this user and click OK. Click close. Now the database creation successfully completed. If you remember, during the database software installation, at the end of the installation there is a script called root.sh. This script should be run as root user. This script creates two files. The first file, which is called aura tab /utc, and the second file called aura env to set your Oracle SID, Oracle home, and path environment variables. Let's see what's now inside aura tab file. As you can see, this file is populated with the database name and the home of the database. It is automatically populated once you create a database using DBCA command. So this file will be maintained by DBCA when you create a new database. Each time you create a new database, a new entry will be added to this file. The second file, which is called aura-env. This aura-env used to set the environment variables for your database. So in case you are planning, for example, to connect to your database, which is called ORCL, you have to run the environment file using dot space, then the environment file name .env. He will ask you what is the database SID, which is the system identifier, which is ORCL. That's it. So Oracle automatically, once you provide the name of the database, Oracle automatically will look inside etc aura tab file and read the path of Oracle home and set Oracle home depends on this value. So no need to export the environment variables like this. Just you need to run .aura-env and provide your database name. Once you provide the database name, Oracle SID will automatically set. As you can see, Oracle home will be automatically set. The path will be also automatically set to Oracle home bin. As you can see, this is the path of Oracle home /bin will be appended to the path environment variable. So now if you connect to the database, there's no need to go to Oracle home like this, bin SQL plus and so on. You have just to run the command directly. So just do SQL plus. How to connect to the database using SQL plus? Just SQL plus username and then provide the password of the user. Here we go. We are connected to the database called ORCL. Try to connect as system user, for example. Let's see what is the name of the database and what's the name of the instance. Select instance underscore name from $sign instance. This view provide many information about the instance, like instance name. Select name from $sign database. This is the name of the database. So this is the instance name from $sign instance. This is the database name from $sign database. I hope this video was informative for you and thank you for watching.